and tomorrow we have the absolute pleasure of getting to explore all of Angkor, including Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom. We're starting off our journey at Prey Root. This temple was built in 961 by King Rajendravarman II, also known in short as King R2. It is a Hindu temple dedicated to Shiva, a Hindu god of creation. A temple is considered to be the home of a god built for prayer and worship. Inside each tower, there is a Shiva Linga statue. The temple was built mainly using brick and a small portion of sandstone used for the doorways and the windows. On this false door, you can see that the carvings are unfinished. Many places in this temple are incomplete. In the 1st century, Hinduism and Buddhism were brought from India and replaced animism, which is worshipping the spirits of trees and rocks. Each dynasty could be either Hindu or Buddhist, depending on the religion of the king. Most kings were Hindu up until the 12th century. In many of the temples, there was lion statues, such as these, said to be there to be the protectors of the temple. Above many of the doorways in this temple is an intricate carving. At its center is Erawan, an elephant with 3 heads. That comes from the Hindu legend called the churning of the sea of milk. Indra, the king of the gods, can commonly be seen riding Erawan. Even though we could spend many hours here, it was time to move on to the next temple.
Nipwan is located on an artificial island in a man-made lake, known as a beret. Many of these lakes dried up in the 15th century because of a drought, and it is theorized that this is the main cause of the collapse of the Khmer Empire. This lake is considered to be relatively small, being 3.5 kilometers long and 900 meters wide. The West Beret is the largest in the area. It is 8 kilometers long and 2 kilometers wide. Up until 15 years ago, this lake was empty. It has since been refilled with water from the river and has caused the death of many large trees. Located at the center of the island is the temple itself, and it consists of 4 small pools, each with a pavilion to connect them to a larger, more central pool. To symbolize the 4 elements, statues are inside each pavilion. A human for earth, lion for fire, elephant for water, and a horse for wind. The large pool is a symbol of Lake Anavatapta, which was believed to cure any disease for those who bathed in it. In the center pool, there is also a flying horse named Balaha. Unfortunately, the water level was too high to see the statue.
Prayakan was built by King Jayavarman II, or King J7, for his father in 1191. Along the pathway to the temple entrance, there are pillars. The top part of the pillar have lotus flowers, the bottom has lions, and the middle once had carvings of Buddha, but they were chiseled out during the 13th century because the new king was Hindu. However, they missed a few, like this one. On the following bridge, there are headless statues. During the Civil War, looting was very bad, and people stole the heads to sell. As shown here, they are holding the body of a Naga that represents the Hindu legend churning of the sea of milk. Many things were created during churning, such as Erawan the elephant, Apsara, the dancers of heaven, and Vishnu's wife. This temple is the first one seen with a moat, with the main purpose of water drainage. The outer wall that surrounds the entire temple has 72 Garudas holding Nagas at 50-meter intervals. This building is called a firehouse, although they found no evidence inside confirming this. Fire is an important part of many rituals, and it is thought that they would keep the supplies here in this building. This is a flat temple with only 1 floor. Over the years, the temples could not be maintained, and many were heavily damaged from the forest. The United States team has been working to restore this temple for the past 30 years, and they are still working in many areas. Above many of the doors in the temple, you can see the carvings of the Apsara dancers, who were born during the churning of the Sea of Milk. They were said to descend from the heavens to entertain the gods and kings with their captivating dance. The center statue was replaced with a stupa in the 16th century. Ashes are likely placed inside, although it is unknown who they belong to. The walls around the stupa are dotted with holes and not carved. Some suggest metal plates were used instead for decorations of the main hall. The temple that we're headed to next just happens to be my very favorite because of some of its incredibly unique features.
During Cambodia's civil war, fighting took place around many temples. You can still see the bullet holes in the pillars of this temple. Bante Shirai was built in 967, commissioned by a counselor of the king. Its name means Citadel of Women, and due to its incredibly detailed carvings, many think it was built by women. It is the only temple in the Angkor complex that used pink sandstone. Many other temples used regular sandstone, and they have been eroded. However, the carvings here have lasted and are in pristine condition. Some of the stone, which you can see, is now black. This is due to the locals burning the plants and trees that have overgrown around the temple. Many carvings can be seen in this temple, some of which are Shiva with his wife sitting on a cow, Rahu, a demon who swallows the sun and the moon, causing eclipses, Shiva dancing, represented by many arms. Over 1,000-year-old inscriptions can be found at this temple as well. They're either written in Sanskrit or ancient Khmer.
Welcome to Angkor Wat, the world's largest religious site. It was built as a Hindu temple in 1113 and took 37 years to build. They used mainly gray sandstone, each piece weighing between 1 and 5 tons. It came from 30 miles away, and bamboo rafts, elephants, and ox carts were used to transport it. The joints are cut incredibly accurately, and even paper cannot fit between them. The tallest tower is 65 meters high, and all the other buildings in Siem Reap have to be lower than this. In 1994, this same tower was struck by lightning and the tower collapsed. Since then, it has been rebuilt with a new addition of a lightning rod. On the equinox, the sun lines up with the main tower, which is true east, and allows the sun to shine directly into the main chamber of the temple. From the 4 cardinal directions, only 3 of the 5 towers can be seen. They are said to represent Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. All 5 towers in total represent Mount Meru. Angkor Wat has always been active, so it was not reclaimed by the jungle. Many locals made Buddhas to place inside the temples. Inside, every piece of stone that is visible is fully carved. Many walls are carved to represent Hindu legends, including the story of Ramayana. It even includes the princess walking through fire and happy dancing monkeys. On the mezzanine floor, there are 4 pools built to collect rainwater from the roof. They are all connected to a drainage system that leads to the moat. Rainfall is about 1.5 meters per year, so when anything was built, drainage was very important. Some people believe that the floor of the pools are unfinished. Pieces of gold have also claimed to have been found, suggesting that the temple may have been entirely gilded. Around 1,800 Apsara dancers were found around the temple with 36 different hairstyles. You can explore all 3 levels of this temple, although the original stairs are closed for use because too many people got injured or were too scared to come back down due to the insane steepness. Our tour guide was very adamant about the danger and how it was so scary to climb up and down that people cried. With the new stairs added to the back of the temple, it is still very possible to climb up, and we highly suggest that you do because the view is absolutely incredible.
Tap Ram is a Buddhist temple built by King J7 for his mother in 1186. It is also known as the Jungle Temple, and you may recognize it from the movie Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie. Many large trees have grown into this temple and cannot be removed without adding damage to the temple itself. However, small trees and vines are removed, and many places of this temple are deemed unsafe for visitors. One type of tree that has grown here is called the strangler fig. It is a parasitic tree that grows on top of other trees. When the trees are getting too big and start to collapse the roof, some of the branches are pruned, and each day a team comes and checks to ensure safety. Seen in this carving is Rahu, the demon that swallows the sun and the moon and causes eclipses. There are 2 statues of Buddha in this temple, both of which are beheaded due to looting. During restoration, some pieces have to be replaced. The newer pieces are lighter colored than the original. Amongst the rubble, a gold crown was also found and placed in a museum. Inscriptions indicate that 12,640 people also lived inside this temple. In this carving, you can see what appears to be a stegosaurus. Look at how cute that little dinosaur is.
Our last stop was the city of Angkor Thom, and in order to get there, we got to drive through this beautiful gate. Bayon is a Buddhist temple that King J7 built for himself in 1200. The Japanese team is still working to restore this temple. They have said there were 54 towers in total, but only 30 of them are left. On each tower are smiling faces, said to be the faces of future smiling Buddhas or even representing King J7 himself. The galleries surrounding the temple had a wooden roof and have since deteriorated and disappeared. However, the intricate carvings still remain and tell us remarkable stories of history. Some of the carvings represent the life of people and give us a sense of how life was back then. In this gorgeous carving, you can see two armies. On the right are the Khmer army troops, and on the left are the Chinese troops, who are adorned with a different headdress. The village carvings show a small pig behind the wheel of a cart, and a mother holding a baby, as well as her own weapon and perhaps a bag of rice, and a man who is getting bitten by his very own tortoise. In this next carving, you can see an animal sacrifice, and our tour guide assured us that there was no such thing as human sacrifice here at the temple. This carving depicts a crocodile eating a soldier that has recently been defeated in battle and thrown into the lake. In this hospital, you can see a woman giving birth with the help of the midwife and the nurse, and also a lady delicing her own child. This last carving is yet another depiction of the Apsara dancers, the dancers who were said to be sent from heaven.
I'm looking down